Hey girls, we're doing like a chatty photo booth, one take kind of vibe a la Ben Green and the YouTube renaissance he has started. So, hope you love. We're in the kitchen and it's great. I'm gonna try to keep this about books. So, how have I been lately first? I've been good. It's Memorial Day weekend. I'm so excited to have 2 days off in a row. It's life changing. I understand that old Gerald Ford, was it Gerald Ford? Henry Ford. I understand the old Henry Ford 5-day work week movement because 2 days off in a row, that shit hits different. So Saturday, nope, it's Sunday, and I have tomorrow off, and I'm really excited, and I'm doing good. I just got back from 7 days in Tulum, Mexico, which was interesting. I took my mom there for her 60th birthday. It was a belated birthday trip, and I'm really glad I was able to do that. We had a lot of fun together. I don't think I would go there again. And I also don't, I wouldn't have gone there unless it was with my mom, because it seemed like a very my mom coded place, like wellness, and I don't know, if you know my mom, it'll make sense that she wanted to go there, but I wouldn't particularly have wanted to go there because of, I guess everyone's saying like Tulum is over, which is like what I feel like happens with all travel. But let me turn off my Discord notifications. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like travel is weird. Tourism is weird. Being in a place that is like known for its natural resources, like the cenotes and the jungle and the beaches there, and then just seeing the rapid growth and expansion and like destruction caused by tourists just like me was just like really sad, and like required a lot of cognitive dissonance to like enjoy yourself there and like participate in the thing. And I wouldn't even say I'm like someone who travels for looking for like authentic experiences. I don't even know what that would mean to me or if that is even possible. But it definitely wasn't in Tulum. At least not the parts that I was accessing. Yeah, I could talk about that more, but I would say skip. I'd say skip. It is like we had to fly 3.5 hours into Cancun, and then it's a 2-hour drive, so it's like not that quick to get to, and I would rather go to a different part of Mexico. I feel like that wasn't as sad, but I did see sea turtles, so that was incredible. And while I was there, I read 2 books. The first is the Book of Ayn by Lexi Freeman. It's about Ayn Rand. Am I saying that right? I am, right? Ayn, it's not Anne, it's Ayn Rand. The protagonist of this book basically writes a book that gets her canceled. The New York Times calls her classist. It's like about a woman who's poor, and the whole profile and like takedown of her from the New York Times is like, this is a well-to-do writer. She's never experienced any poverty. She's exploiting the working class, and she completely gets canceled and like kind of lurched out of her New York elite literary snobby community, and like doesn't know what to do with herself, and is like looking for a new project and doesn't really know where to place her energy. And she comes across a group of Ayn Rand super fans who are kind of on a walking tour of New York, and she becomes obsessed with Ayn Rand and is like looking for her own artistic and spiritual fulfillment, and using Ayn Rand as like a siphon to kind of test out ideas and test out different kinds of theories and like ways of being in the world. And she goes to LA and is interacting with these like TV Hollywood producer types who want to try to option her new project about Ayn Rand into like a book or a TV or a show of some sort. And it's so funny, you guys. Like, I feel like this book does not sound that good on paper. I don't care about Ayn Rand at all. There's a lot of, I guess, existential and philosophical themes in this book that I wasn't like super familiar with, like all of Ayn Rand's ideology basically, and it was fun to like learn about them in a satirical context where the author and the protagonist are like really just taking it down and just like highlighting the insanity of it, and the self-servitude of kind of Ayn Rand's entire ethos, and I guess her path of like radical selfishness, I guess, is what Ayn Rand believed in, right? So I can't recommend this enough. I really wish more people were reading it. Who sent this to me? Catapult, I forget her name. Kendall Story sent this to me, and I'm really happy she did at Catapult, because it is one of my favorite books I've read this so far this year. It's so smart. She really satirizes, again, like every kind of cultural subsect that the main character is interacting with. So again, the New York elite, the kind of brainwashed groupies of Ayn Rand's philosophical ideologies, the LA influencers that she's meeting with, and then the book wraps up when she's actually going to like a spiritual wellness camp on the Isle of Lesbos in Greece, and the commune kind of structure there. So I loved it. I can't say good enough things about it. I really want more people to read it. If you're interested in kind of satire at large, like think Paul Beatty and like Alexandra Kleeman, something new under the sun vibes, I think you'll really like this. It's like whip smart and really readable at the same time while being like highbrow, and talks about like political culture and different cultural niches. So that's the Book of Ayn. God, that's gonna bug me. Then this fucking morning, I finally finished The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. This took me like 2 weeks to read it. It was 650 pages. This follows a family in Ireland, the Barneses, who are all individually and collectively going through kind of a downward spiral. They have ascended through the class ranks and kind of established themselves as one of the families about town, and due to the recession, due to poor financial decisions, due to things I don't want to spoil, all of their riches and kind of means and way of life gets turned on its head, and it's structured so the chapters are fairly long. I think they're like 100 pages, and we go through and are narrated by each of the main characters of the family, so the mom, the dad, the brother, and the sister, and they're each kind of dealing with and grappling with this loss and where the loss meets them at not only the different stage of their lives, but like what this loss actually is, because obviously the children have been born into this wealth, but not necessarily the parents. And we get this like really robust look at how this family is invested in kind of pulling the strings in their little small town. There's a lot of different thematic I guess dealings here of queerness and closetedness and what it means to have freedom in your personal identity and be able to live as yourself, which I found like pretty surprising and moving. This book towards the end escalates in tone greatly. At first I was describing this book, me and my coworkers read this together. Some of them are still reading it, but I was like, this is like Irish Jonathan Franzen. Like, this is Crossroads if it was Irish, and I take that back. It is in some parts, I think in like the first half of the book, but it is way more thrillery almost and plotty, and there's way more like momentum of all of the character arcs and how they're intersecting with each other than you would expect in a Franzen novel, I would say. So it actually reminded me a lot of Burnham Wood by Eleanor Catton at the end of the day, and I liked it. The ending is really controversial. Like, if you go on Goodreads, everyone's gonna be like, the ending, and the ending for me worked. It definitely leaves some things unsaid and a lot for the reader to kind of sit with and imagine, but I like books like that. So that's The Bee Sting. I don't know if it was worth like 2 weeks of my reading life. I guess it was. Like, maybe I would have read 3, bad books in that time instead of one like pretty good one. And I like being a part of like the cultural conversation at work about this big old literary tome. So that's The Bee Sting. I'm glad I read it. And then lastly, I would just say, I had our Sunny's book club discussion yesterday, and Sujay, Catherine, Jess, Jalen joined, some book club regulars, and it was such a great discussion. If you have read Lauren Euler, if you've read Fake Accounts, if you're up to date on the book forum review, if you're interested in the public versus the private, if you want to talk about, I guess, the role of criticism in our modern age and what the critic, how the critic shapes larger book culture, I would really recommend listening to our book club discussion. I got a lot out of it, and like people brought various differing opinions to it, and it was like a really good, productive discussion, I found. So even if you didn't love this book, my takeaway at the end of it was like, oh, I actually didn't love that. And I'll leave you to listen to that episode if you want to hear more, but we had a good book club discussion about it. And that leaves me with no fiction to read. So I've already read the book club book for this month, which was Worry by Alexandra Tanner, and I really liked it. And then I have All Fours by Miranda July coming up to read, but I want to pick a tiny because I just got done with that tome, so I want to give myself something small before diving into Miranda July, just to freshen things up maybe. And I'm feeling something weird because we were such in a family drama previously, so I've pulled a few things that I think might fit the bill, some better than others, and I want to walk you through some of the choices. I think this is the one I'm going to pick, spoiler alert. I love to ask people's opinion, and then like I already know exactly what I want to do, which is so frustrating for my friends, but that's what I like to do. Roleplay by Clara Drummond. This is out by FSG. Vivian is a curator, not just at her gallery gig in Rio de Janeiro, but in every aspect of her life. Her apartment has designer armchairs, her wallet is Comme des Garçons, everything is selected and arranged, even her lovers and friends. In Vivian's world, everything comes in excess, including her own caustic self-awareness. As she informs us, I'm a misandrist and a misogynist, but she is fond of gay men, the only type of human you can properly get along with as equals. Roleplay examines the superabundances of Brazilian elites, their arts, ethics, and moneyed ambivalences in the face of social equity, machismo, and violence. As sharp and sparking and broken champagne flutes, Clara Drummond's prose is seductively frank and unflinching in its depiction of wealth's power toward the self. Okay, so this is not the book I thought it was. I thought this was the book, is it called Slime or something like that? I think my proof of it is at the bookstore now that I'm like picturing it, and I thought it was this, which was like more sci-fi than this description. Blurbed on the back by Sarah Thinkum Matthews and Sloane Crosley. I don't know, I just read that big book that was all about like wealth and how it warps our interactions and kind of like relations to others, so I don't really know if, blurred by Kathleen Lacey on the front. Hold on, that might change my mind. Too real to be satire, too funny to be realism, and mordant all the way through. I don't know, that's an option. Option 2, The Body Artist by Don DeLillo. I think Ben Green loved this book in my memory. In The Body Artist, his spare, seductive 12th novel, he inhabits the muted world of Lauren Hartk, an artist whose work defies the limits of the body. Lauren is living on a lonely coast in a rambling rented house where she encounters a strange, ageless man, a man with uncanny knowledge of her own life. Together they begin a journey into the wilderness of time, love, and human perception. The Body Artist is a haunting, beautiful, and profoundly moving novel from one of the finest writers of our time. Sure. And then this little guy from FSG, Termouche, a novel by Sven Holm. Forward by Jeff Vandermeer. So I think this is sci-fi. The only luxury is safety. An unnamed disaster has destroyed the world outside, but within the walls of the seaside resort called Termouche, a select group of guests continues to live life undisturbed for now. As time passes, signs of the cataclysm begin to bleed into their gilded idol. Before long, their peaceful days have turned into an agonizing wait for things to fall apart. Sven Holm's prose is opalescent, untroubled on the surface, but shot with but shot through with brilliant inner agitation. Turmush is a lost classic of Scandinavian literature, and its message is as shockingly apt as it was 50 years ago. Humanity cannot insulate itself from the calamity it has wreaked upon the world. Inevitably, the apocalypse finds you. This is also blurbed by Catherine Lacey, which is funny. And her blurb is a terrifying inquiry into the nature of survival and the fragile calm that comes after a disaster. I couldn't put it down. This seems like more what I want to do. I want something weird. I really don't have that much weird stuff right now. I think I might also have I Who Have Never Known Men on my Kindle, but I'm like not in an e-reader mood right now. And then lastly, I'm not even gonna pose this as an option because it's really not. It's not weird at all. I do want to read it, but it's not gonna fit the bill. So those are my four little options. 3, if you were actually counting there. We'll see what I actually pick up next. Maybe I missed something on my bookshelf that also sounds good. That's it. Quick update, 16-minute update for you all. I'm making spaghetti for dinner tonight. I got lip injections. You probably can tell because I got them on Friday. Today's Sunday, so I only got them 2 days ago, and they're really swollen. And they're unevenly swollen. Like, this lip is lower than this one, but it'll go down. I think they look good. If you don't think so, don't tell me. My lips were small before, for sure, but less like the bigness of them was the shape of them. I have like an M-shaped lip, so I have more volume in the center. Like, she didn't put any filler in the center of my top lip, and I had like no volume on the side, so she like filled it out. It'll go down like 25% more. It's still deswelling. That's not a word, but I'm liking it, and I thought I would be honest with you. It does make me want to get my bottom teeth straightened now. They used to be straight, but I didn't wear my retainer. But I bet these will like fade in, and I'll stop looking at myself as much, and I'll just get over that. So that is my injectables update for you all. No shame in my game. I don't believe in that. So that's it. Dog's barking. Gotta go. Love you. See you soon. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know if any of those sound fun.